We're about to dive into the mind of a young girl who would grow up to become one of the most beloved modern saints. But here's the thing, this isn't a story about her, it's a story told by her. We're going straight to the source, her own autobiography, to uncover the incredible spiritual journey she started as just a child.
So where are we looking? We're in chapter 4 of her autobiography, which she simply called Growing Up. And it's right here that she writes about these huge pivotal moments that really shaped her entire spiritual life, way before the world had any idea who she was. Let's get into it.
And this leads us to this really fascinating question, one that Therese herself was thinking about from a super young age. I mean, how does a kid, or really any of us, find a path to what you'd call true greatness? Well, her answer would completely change how millions of people thought about holiness.
Okay, so it all starts with a name. Even before she thought about entering the convent, young Therese had this really powerful sense of who she was meant to be. It was like a secret wish she kept tucked away in her heart.
She writes that she had this huge devotion to the child Jesus, and she just thought, how amazing would it be if I could be called Therese the child Jesus? But here's the key part. She says, I never mentioned this to anyone. It was totally private, this special connection she felt.
So can you just imagine her absolute shock when she visits the convent and the Reverend Mother, out of the blue, says these exact words to her? For Therese, this wasn't some happy coincidence. No way! This was a sign from God, confirming that she was absolutely on the right track.
With her calling pretty much confirmed, she has her first major spiritual breakthrough. And this was an idea that would become the foundation for everything she believed, a secret she felt God had revealed right to her.
She writes that God taught her that real greatness, the kind that actually matters, doesn't come from doing these big, flashy deeds for everyone to applaud. The only glory that lasts is eternal glory, and you get it in a totally different way. So, the big question is, how do you do that?
She found her answer in this famous verse from the Gospel of Matthew. The path to that eternal glory wasn't just about hiding your good deeds from other people, but from yourself. To do good just for the love of it, without any thought of, hey, look what I did.
And this right here became the heart of her little way. It's such a radical idea when you think about it. Sainthood isn't just for these heroic figures doing grand gestures. Nope, it's for everyone. It's accessible to you and me through all the small, hidden, everyday acts of kindness and love.
And she put this whole philosophy into practice right away, as she was getting ready for what was, for her, the most important day of her young life, her first communion. And the way she prepared was just a perfect example of her little way in action. Her process just shows you she didn't just study for it, she lived it. Every little sacrifice she made, she saw them as freshly gathered flowers for her heart. Every night, she'd soak up these stories of virtue. She really came to believe that these spiritual riches were just hidden everywhere, waiting to be found in simple, good deeds.
You can just feel the anticipation building. More than anything, she just wanted this day to be perfect. Not perfect like a party, but a perfect, unforgettable moment of spiritual connection.
And when the day finally came, the experience was more than she ever could have hoped for. It wasn't just a ceremony, not just a milestone. For Therese, it was something way deeper. Something mystical. This is how she described it. It was more than a meeting. It was a complete fusion. She felt like, sure, they understood each other before, but this was on another level. This was a total merging of her entire being with the divine.
And she uses this beautiful, intense metaphor to try and explain it. Imagine a single drop of water falling into the ocean. It's gone, right? That's what she felt happened to her own identity, herself. In that moment, there was no more Therese and Jesus. There's just one.
The transformation was so total that she identified with the words of St. Paul, I live now, not I, but Christ liveth in me. She truly felt like her life was now being lived by this divine presence inside her. That day really did become the perfect memory she longed for.
But what happens after a spiritual high point like that? You'd probably expect a lifetime of bliss, right? Well, instead, something really surprising and kind of counterintuitive started to happen inside her. She developed a whole new understanding of suffering.
So right after the greatest joy she'd ever known, Therese starts to feel drawn to hardship. Now, this wasn't some desire for pain. It was more like a total shift in what she valued. After tasting that ultimate joy, everything else just seemed less.
She started to see earthly joys as fleeting. They couldn't really fill her heart. But suffering, she saw it as a unique path. It stripped away all the distractions and allowed her to love purely and to find this deeper, more resilient joy in that connection alone.
And she's honest about it. She admits this was a mystery even to her. It wasn't some logical thing she figured out. It was a deep, captivating feeling, an intuition that inside life's biggest challenges, there was a hidden grace and a unique way to love.
So, we end with this thought, which is really the heart and soul of Therese's little way. Her story really makes you stop and think about where we look for meaning. It suggests that maybe greatness isn't found in the spotlight at all, but in all those quiet, unseen acts of love that make up our daily lives. What if she was right?